The world that we live in is constantly in a state of change. For example, our population is drastically increasing. In fact, by the year 2050, we will reach 9.6 billion people. Space and resource allocations are becoming top priorities, and the sustainability of our current lifestyle is becoming threatened. The million-dollar question has become, what can we do before we get to the point of no return? And thus, the Challenge 2050 project was born. Within the Challenge 2050 program, students are challenged, motivated, and inspired to start forming solutions to the problems that are currently impacted our world. In the Global Uncertainty class, students are put into groups and charged with the task of creating a project that provides an answer to one of the world's problems. They are required to form their solution from a specific system. My group was given the food system. At first, it seemed like such a big and daunting task. We had no idea where to even begin. And even if we had, it did not seem like we would even make a dent. The world had so many problems, and we were only undergrads after all. This is where we were mistaken. We began to really put some thought into the task we had at hand. Food. Okay, everyone needs food. Not everyone has enough food, and the population increased. The problem only gets worse. So we needed a way to get food to those who don't have access. Protein, we decided, would be our focus. Being the typical Americans we are, we thought of beef. However, beef can be expensive, time-consuming, and resource-depleting. Cattle cost thousands of dollars to purchase, feed, and transport. To nourish cattle, an average of 1 to 2 acres of land is needed per cow. This was simply not going to work. On one night, I sat in silence contemplating the project and listening to the crickets chirp out my window. It hit me. Crickets. Crickets were the answer. Aside from being wonderful noisemakers, crickets are shockingly high in protein content. I did some research and found out the current market price for 250 crickets is only $12. A female lays 5 to 10 eggs a day, and it only takes 1 square foot box to hold up to 1,000 crickets. In my research, I found that there was currently a cricket powder on the market. It was 67% protein with a 2-year shelf life. The process to make it was also fairly simple. The main components are a place to store the crickets, an oven to dry them, and a way of grinding the dried crickets into a fine powder. This process can be done virtually anywhere with limited space and in any environmental conditions. That would mean that transportation of the powder would not even be an issue. We took off with the idea and developed a solid presentation outlining our idea and even went on to win first place in our class. This project may still have a long way to go, however, it is a step in the right direction. 3 months before that presentation, I couldn't have told you what the projected population for 2050 was going to be. Most of my family and friends could not have told you either. As I went on the course, I became enthralled by all I was learning and had to share it with anyone who would listen. It dawned on me that even if crickets weren't going to help me save the world, that the Challenge 2050 project would. Every day, I told someone new about my involvement in the project. Every day, one more person was thinking about how they could help change the world.